Tonight on Q2, caught on camera.
The people came through and basically had a gun to her and took her from there.
A Billings motel, the scene of a brazen nighttime robbery as an employee looks on. Plus, living in fear inside schools.
It's really hard to send kids to school with regular school shootings.
What should be a student's safe place now turning into grounds for violence. So much so that some fear we're becoming desensitized.
Good. You're getting very good.
And a story of survival and perseverance.
Honestly, I didn't realize how severe my situation was.
One Montana woman on the road to recovery after a horrible accident that left her lying in the cold, severely injured for 2 hours. The MTN 10 o'clock news starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on this Tuesday night. I'm Russ Riesinger. Our top story, a brazen robbery inside a Billings motel caught on camera. This scene broke out Friday morning at the Roadway Inn in downtown Billings as two thieves entered the lobby and held an employee at gunpoint, attempting to steal cash from the register. Well, tonight our David J. hears from employees as they relive this scary experience.
They say the robbers came in this door, went into the hotel, went up these stairs over toward the lobby area, and then went down into the stairway out here. And it's right in this area where one of the robbers held somebody at gunpoint. 3 a.m. is normally a quiet hour for hotel clerks. Most guests are fast asleep, the front lobby typically empty. But that wasn't the case at the Roadway Inn last Friday morning.
They had her at gunpoint here, somewhere in here. They shoved the gun in her rib.
Carrie Rhinesmith, assistant general manager of the hotel, says two thieves barged in. One held a gun to the employee at the front desk, while another had a gun on the friend of the hotel clerk. Security video shows what happened next.
They grabbed the cash register that was right here, and they just jerked everything out.
Video also shows the robber with a crowbar trying to get into the cash register.
But they're failing immensely. They just end up just taking the whole thing because they're so frustrated that they cannot get into it.
Rhinesmith wasn't at the hotel when it happened, but received a call from the clerk when the thieves left, cash register in hand.
She goes, "Charlie, we just got robbed at gunpoint." She goes, "I'm scared. Can you come down?" And I was like, "Yes." Just to hear that, though, it just sends a shock to your heart.
Video from the nearby 406 kitchen and tap room shows the robbers walking through the parking lot to the hotel.
Come around the backside of the alley is what Melissa from the 406 has on her video. They come out this way, they climb over there, they come this way, they stand in front of the door here, and then they go around the backside.
And after a few minutes, the robbers headed out toward the Billings Family Animal Hospital.
They had to have taken off that way, behind the animal hospital, because the 406 doesn't show them coming down the alley anymore.
A scary night that has shaken employees, especially as the suspects remain on the loose. At what point did you relax or you knew she was safe?
When I seen her. When I seen both of them, and they were both standing there, they were definitely shaken up. But my heart went out to them hugely. Nobody should ever have to go through that.
In Billings, David J., MTN News.
Well, new at 10, a Billings man accused of breaking into police vehicles and stealing a shotgun, body armor, and medical supplies admitted to a firearms charge today. 28-year-old Jacob Charles Berger pleaded guilty to possession of a stolen firearm. The government says in court documents that the Billings Police Department began an investigation into vandalism of 5 law enforcement vehicles, all happening between March 5th and the 15th of this year. During those crimes, multiple items were stolen, including a 12-gauge shotgun and ammunition. Surveillance video showed a suspect riding a black and red bike, which investigators later found and matched to Berger through fingerprints. Law enforcement arrested Berger at his residence on an unrelated charge. He then admitted to breaking into the vehicles and stealing the items. He faces a maximum of 10 years in prison. This is a number that should disturb you. 83. That's how many school shootings have occurred in the United States so far just this year, on track to set another record. 27 of those were on college campuses. 56 on K through 12 school grounds. And just this week, school violence was thrust back into the spotlight when a 15-year-old opened fire inside a private Christian school in Madison, Wisconsin, killing 2 people and injuring several others before turning the gun on herself. The motive is still unclear. But what is clear is that number is concerning. And sadly, school shootings have become so common, we rarely hear about most of the crimes. Tonight, our Matt Carmack is diving deeper into the issue.
Monday's school shooting in Madison, Wisconsin was the 487th mass shooting in the United States so far this year. That's more than one per day. And a local Billings mom and author is saying our society has become desensitized to this issue, and ultimately it's hurting our school children. It's any parent's worst nightmare, sending children to school for them not to return home.
To then see the news that in another part of the country, a mom who sent their kid to school, just like I sent my kid to school, is not going to have their kid come home is paralyzing.
It's a big fear for mom of 3 and Billings author Emily Wrongful.
I think it's sad that they happen so often that we just kind of move on and throw our hands up and, oh, well, there's nothing we can do. And we just, move on, it feels like sometimes.
When her oldest child entered kindergarten, she wrote Listen, Run, Hide, a children's book about what to do in those terrifying circumstances. A hard conversation to have with such young children.
At the end of the day, kids are experiencing mass shootings. They might not be in the room when one is happening, but they are experiencing drills, or they are hearing about them from friends, or they will eventually grow into awareness.
These lockdown drills are a normal occurrence at schools all across School District 2. But even the drills themselves can be alarming.
When it's not planned or we don't know about it, I get a little bit concerned, but I know I'm safe in the classrooms.
Yeah. I just think that something really bad happened and I just get scared.
I feel like our school is very secure, but people could still break in and hurt others. So I get scared too.
Romwell fears this mentality will spread to her children as well, as school shootings are on the rise in the United States, with 36 10 years ago, 52 5 years ago, and over 80 just this year. So much so that we are becoming desensitized to mass shootings.
I think it's important to realize that we do have a duty to be talking to our kids about this, and even as they grow older and grow into an adulthood, to talk to them about how other countries don't have this problem.
In Billings, Matt Carmack, MTN News.
These days, it's not surprising to see a police officer or a school resource officer walking through the hallways on a daily basis. But today, many middle schoolers saw a different side of law enforcement and first responders as they all joined together for a career fair. That career fair was put on at Metro Park by several agencies, including Billings Police and fire departments. Give students a first-hand look at life as a first responder, and the middle schoolers definitely love the opportunity.
Just seeing that and understanding what we do on a daily basis gives them a better opportunity to understand and start planning for those future goals.
We learned about the hostage things and how they talk to people.
I learned a lot because I didn't know that firefighters go on jet skis to save people. I thought they just went on fires. Boats.
Yes, I learned that the dogs can sense or smell anything, and they're really smart.
The Public Safety Expo then opened to the public a little later this afternoon. Tonight, the man suspected in the shooting death of the United Healthcare CEO has been indicted by New York prosecutors. 26-year-old Luigi Mangione is charged with first-degree murder and several other charges in the murder of Brian Thompson. Mangione is accused of killing Thompson in a targeted attack on December 4th outside a Midtown Manhattan hotel where the health insurer was holding its investor conference. Police arrested Mangione at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania 5 days after the murder. He faces a maximum penalty of life in prison without parole. A pregnant woman has filed a complaint against Montana Highway Patrol after she claims she was wrongfully arrested, accused of driving under the influence. That arrest taking place during a traffic stop in early December near Livingston. MTN's Heaven Van met with the woman and her family to learn what happened.
I was just pretty shocked. And I constantly told him I'm pregnant. I haven't drank in probably 8 months.
Alyssa Johnson is a photographer from Sheridan who at 22 weeks pregnant was pulled over by an MHP officer for an alleged traffic violation on the night of December 1st.
I have a stutter, and he noticed I thought I was slurring, so he pretty much said, "Can you step out the car?" kind of deal. Made me do all these kinds of tests.
Alyssa explains that she has severe dyslexia, which makes understanding direction and completing any sort of test difficult. Her husband Tim explains.
I mean, Alyssa, when she was in school, she'd have to have extra time to take an exam, and she'd have questions read to her.
Alyssa says that in addition to her mental handicap, she was in a state of panic during the traffic stop, affecting her ability to give a proper breathalyzer result.
They were saying that since I couldn't breathe through the breathalyzer and the testing wasn't doing good, they arrested me and pretty much took me to the hospital for more blood work.
A written statement by her therapist confirms Alyssa's dyslexia diagnosis. And after the incident, the couple got a third-party blood test because the one conducted by law enforcement could take up to 8 weeks to return. The blood test provided by the Johnsons shows negative for any type of drug.
I take a prenatal, an aspirin for my pressure, my blood pressure, and then a heartburn, Tums.
And simple stuff.
Simple stuff.
Tim explains that in addition to expecting their second child, they're currently building a home, making the cost of bail and towing a hard hit on finances.
We have a budget to stick to, and the budget doesn't include, an unexpected cost like this.
Tim says this is an opportunity for police to receive better training on mental impairments and hopes that charges will be dropped from Alyssa's record.
And I understand they have to do their job too. I mean, I support police, but this wasn't right to do.
I reached out to MHP for comment, but did not receive a response regarding the incident. In Bozeman, Heaven Van, MTN News.
You can see some of the fog and haze starting to build in with the Stockman Bank weather cam here in Billings. But let's talk about the weather and the way it happened for the day. Temperatures were within several degrees of average for this time of the year, just a little bit warmer than average in the morning and again in the afternoon. The winds weren't a big deal today, 23 miles per hour for the strongest gust. Temperatures only made it into the 20s, 19 in Williston for one of the chillier readings. In Miles City, you didn't make it any warmer than 27 all day long, but 30s to low 40s across southwest Montana into northern Wyoming. Showers, we had a little bit of moisture to report, less than 1/10 of an inch for the locations that did pick up something, but changes afoot. We'll talk about it coming up.
TikTok has asked the U.S. Supreme Court to block a bipartisan law that would ban the social media app in the United States. That law will go into effect on January 19th if the justices do not grant the company's request. The bipartisan measure was passed by Congress and signed into law by President Joe Biden. The law would require TikTok's Chinese owner, ByteDance, to sell the platform to an American company or face a ban. TikTok has challenged the law, saying it violates its free speech rights under the First Amendment. Montana also passed a law banning the popular app. That law is also being challenged in court pending the outcome of the federal ban.